It was unveiled like 2 months ago in Shenzhen International Audio Show, SIAS 2024. I was there on site, priced at just 85 US dollar. Potentially could be one of the most affordable digital audio player that you can expect to be released this year from a major brand. So let's talk about this one. We know that R1 is small. So how small is small? Let's just have a look. This is the R1 here, and this is IBASO DX260. This is FIFINE M9 and this is my phone. Yep, see that? That's how small it is. Very compact. Let's just have a quick look at this R1 here. Click it on like this, and this is the main screen here. So what I'm going to do is just quickly show you the most important thing, like this one here. Okay, you notice that? It says HIBY R1 1.0. Yes, this is running on custom OS, which is HIBY proprietary OS, not Android. I repeat, not Android. And this is the main screen again. The interface is pretty much very simple. You can touch it, okay? And this is where the system, where you set up all the settings and everything. I will not bore you with the details. There's two major functions for this R1. First and foremost, it is a local audio playback. So which means that it will always play from this micro SD here because it does not have any kind of internal storage. And clicking on music, assuming that you already have scanned your music using the feature here, okay, update database there, then it will all load up here, either as artists, albums, or genre, or even album artists. Okay, pretty much it is a HIBY music app interface. So let's just quickly show you how does it look like when doing playback. Just gonna select some of my favorite song here. Let's say just click on Blue Zoom here, then Philosopher, then this one. Alright, so there you have it. This is how it look like, the playback interface for the local audio playback. Another feature which is important for this R1 is that the capability to do streaming as well, despite being so very simple. Assuming that you have already connected to your Wi-Fi, which is this screen here, and while at this screen, I'm just going to show you that it is capable of connecting to Bluetooth device if you want to use your Bluetooth device, maximum up to LDAC configuration. And of course, you can also use the LNA, which I will not be covering into this, and AirPlay as well. But Wi-Fi here, this is where you connect Wi-Fi, and it only support 2.4 gigahertz of Wi-Fi. Assuming that you have either one of these account, which is either Tidal or Qobuz, okay, did I mention it correctly? And in my case, I always use Tidal. I'm just going to click on Tidal here, and you would notice that it clicks on this. So what will need to be done next is that open up your mobile phone, which is already connected, do a scanning like this. Okay, let me see. Alright, there it is. Just going to click on that, go to website. Okay, it's loading up. Okay, verifying the device. Okay, accept all cookies. Continue with Google. So I'm just going to do this off screen because I need to key in my details. Okay, and this is what you see. It says here ECJNC. Click continue. We are now connected to Tidal. Yay. Okay, so this is how the screen look like. Now, you see, assuming that you have already done that, you don't have to do it over and over again. But let's just say, look at this interface here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the weird thing is that the first time when I look into this, when I click on this, I don't want any new album or anything like that, because what I want is my existing playlist. So you need to click on this one here. So for example, I'm just going to load up my playlist here. And I can already see my playlist all listed here. For example, if I were to click on this, right, and just click on one of the music here, it loads up. You see how long it takes. And it is all dependent on how good is your Wi-Fi. And as you can see here, it is loading up, it is playing, but what you are not seeing is that the album art. because this thing runs purely streaming. And I repeat, this R1 does not seem to do local cache, which means that it does not store locally any of the title which you are streaming. So always remember that it will be always 100% on streaming. There's no local playback. If you are not connected, you will not be able to do your tidal playback. Now, let me share with you some of the most important tweaks or feature that you need to turn on in order to maximize on this R1 here. So click the first one being the maximum volume available to this R1. Without doing any kind of adjustment, this R1 have a limitation of volume up to 54. So you would not be able to get maximum capabilities of power from this R1 unless you do this. Okay, based on what I have seen from Obi Audio, another audio reviewer on YouTube, all you need to do is just simply clicking so many times here until this particular screen came out that it says you are already a developer. So we are switching into developer mode and clicking back here. If you click on system, you notice that there are several options here that it will show you developer option is available. Disable the volume lock here. So which means that originally it was like this. I want to go maximum all the way to 54. You see that? But you don't want that. We're just gonna unlock this, and then now we can go to all the way to 100. Okay, so that's the first thing that you can do. And the second thing, these are the audio options. Okay, this is a digital audio player, by the way, so you would want to play with this. Now, this R1 does not offer any kind of parametric equalizer or EQ or any kind of preset, but it does come with this super advanced, super quirky, amazing MSEB here. Okay, initially it is turned off because normally I would just simply try to run my R1 as turned off, but I have tested it quite extensively and I am impressed because you see here all the options being given here, kind of a bit, let's say, straightforward. So it says that overall temperature, I do not mess with that because I don't understand what it is, but I do understand this small thing. I'm not sure whether you can see it. Bass extension, bass texture, note thickness, vocals, female, and so many things, even sibilance control. So by just tweaking it like this, okay, up, down, like that, you can actually tweak the sound real time and you can actually hear the differences and it behave similar to equalizer for as long as you know what you're doing. And the third feature, which is also I find very useful, is the sound field. Okay, for a simple digital audio player to offer this sound field is amazing because, for example, I'm just going to show you this iBasso DX260 is priced at 1,000 US dollar and it does not have any kind of soundstage modifier. In order to do that, you might need to get something like this FIFINE M9 which have soundstage modifier. With this 85 US dollar R1, you can get this sound field. And what it does is that you can adjust here. You can literally artificially change the way your headphone, your IEM behave or handle the soundstage and spatial holographic projection. There's two things that's certain about this HIBY R1 here, used as a portable device like this. With the battery endurance, running on local file, driving this 32 ohm of IEM, which is HIBY Project S, I was able to get in excess around 16 hours, which is very impressive. And the second thing being that this thing does not overheat at all. Cirrus Logic CS43131, a very popular DAC, which you can literally see being used in like 80% of the dongles in the market very recently. And that is the very same chip which is being used in this R1 here. Okay, Cirrus Logic CS43131, single DAC configuration with a power rating of just 1.8 VRMS and at around 100 milliwatt of power per channel. So what kind of power we are talking about here? What kind of stuff does this R1 is capable of driving? And to test the absolute maximum limit in the spirit of dongle madness, I have tested this HIBY Sundara here, not an easy magnetic planar to drive, with this R1, 3.5 mm single-ended termination in high gain, and assuming that you already have removed the volume limitation, allowing it to go all the way to 100, I was able to drive this with this at around 75 out of 100 for proper listening loudness, and that is impressive. And even without doing the volume removal limitation, I was able to run this Luxury S12 2024 here, magnetic planar IEM, at around 45 out of 54. And running normal IEMs at around 32 ohm, which is this HIBY Project Ace here, single DD, and also this Dunu Titan S2 at around 30 out of 100. So you get an idea the power of this R1. However, realistically, despite being able to drive this Sundara here with proper listening loudness, for my ear sensitivity, I must admit I am hearing better result if I were to use something like this, the X260 here from Ibaso, or even FIFINE M9 or even the recently released HIBY R4, especially that one because R4 runs on 4.4mm balance and also Class A amplifier. So simply put, if you have every intention to drive something as demanding as this on R1, you're going to be disappointed because what you're going to get is just something which is just simply enough. Realistically, you should not be expecting full potential of this HIBY Sundara here or even this Luxury S12 2024 because you're just going to get proper listening loudness but not the full authority of the sound itself. Another usage case scenario which I think will be very beneficial from this R1 is also the ability to perform as a transport playback device. What do I mean by transport playback device? Assuming that you have dongles like this, which I have here, which is Onyx Alpha X1 and also this Ibaso DC07 Pro, you can also do this, get this R1 here and connect this dongle like this, and you would notice here this Ibaso DC07 Pro is already powered up and it is usable. And the benefit of running this configuration is that you can use your dongle in bit perfect mode because this R1 will always emit or produce output which is bit perfect, and you're not going to get any kind of RF interferences like when you're connecting this dongle to a phone. When you have an external amplifier like this stack SRM002, which I have here, which is an electrostatic system by the way, portable, and you like to carry your stack with you, attach this, and this thing will require a line out. And despite being so, let's say, simple and small like this, assuming that you already removed the volume limitation on this R1, you connect it to the 3.5mm single-ended, set the volume to 75 out of 100 and switch on your amplifier here. Now you have a very compact system. Just have a look at this. Look at that. If I were to tie them with a rubber band or something like that, then this is entirely pocketable. So I have my portable device now, which I can carry with me anytime. So we know that this R1 here have limitation, especially when it comes to outright power, especially if the volume limiter is switched on. But even with switch off, I would say that this R1 is still something which I would consider as suitable for driving very efficient earphones or in-ear monitor. I am hearing the kind of sound which I would consider as very well tuned because we are looking at Cirrus Logic CS43131, a very reputable DAC which is implemented by HIBY, which really know what they are doing. So in return, this R1 is something which I would consider as transparent, neutral and uncolored. And when I say neutral and uncolored, with the MSEB turned off, regardless of which listening partner I attach it to, be it this IEM, this one or this one, I get to hear faithful sound reproduction as how it was intended to be used with those IEM. And that is when the MSEB turn off. But I think the biggest appeal of this R1 here is actually the MSEB itself, because I do know that a lot of people love to tweak the sound to get the kind of sound preference which you love. For example, if you want something which is a bit more frontal with the vocal, or a bit laid back with the vocal, or something which is, extending a bit more on the lower frequency, or something which is a bit more punchy with, mid bass or sub bass, or something which is a bit more sparkly or less sparkly if you are sensitive to treble, you can easily tune it with this R1 here. And to get that kind of feature for something which is priced at just $85, I think it is definitely a steal. And on top of that, it is super versatile. Remember, I have shown you, you can use this R1 as a source transport for your dongle or even for your amplifier, external amplifier. And being so small and portable like this, and being very efficient with the battery, it is something like almost a discrete kind of source which you can easily piggyback to any amplifier. When it comes to comparison and competition, there's nothing much to compete with this R1 really in this budget segment under 100 US dollar. You want to know why? Because if you consider the other option in budget segment digital audio player, like from Shanling M1 Plus, which I reviewed very recently, and also even HIBY's AP80X or something like that, they are priced well over 100 US dollar. That Shanling M1 Plus is even close to 200 US dollar. So we are talking about double the price. Yet, I would consider the three of them competing in the same space. So if you consider that price point, this is a very appealing option to have. And even if you say that you might be able to get digital audio player from AliExpress for under 100 US dollar, but I can guarantee you those are from manufacturers which are unknown. But we are talking about HIBY here, okay? HIBY is a big name in audio, and they are known to produce some of the best sounding audio gears in the market. And would I recommend this? Definitely. I see this R1 as a solution for people who don't want to spend too much money on buying digital audio player, or people who don't want to lug around their dongles or anything like that with their phone. So this is something which is an easy recommendation from me. If you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And also please take a moment to click like here. It will really help me out. It is free, by the way. And also please follow me on Instagram, which I have set up very recently. My Instagram will be a platform for me to provide quick updates on the things that I do beyond this video. And again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.